Hello everyone, my name's Kim and I am at Kim's Cozy Corner. And y'all, I've been busy over the last few days and I've been doing a lot of direct sowing. And I want to share with you today some of the things that I've direct sowed over the last couple of days. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the corn. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. If you've never been here before, I'm Kim, and if you've been here before, welcome back. We're in the garden and we're still doing all of our early season chores. So today I am planting seeds. So I have pretty much most of my transplants in at this point, and now I'm doing some of the direct sowing that I need to do. According to my garden journal, and so this is the journal that I use to track when I'm starting my seeds, when do I need to transplant them out, when I plan to start my seeds. I use this journal for all of that. There's a link to my garden journal in the description below. Now, this is not for professional gardeners. This is a super simple journal. I don't want you to go online and say, ooh, I thought there was going to be more. It's super simple. I created it for me with the information that I like when I'm trying to plant my garden. But in the front of the journal, it says that I need to plant my corn because that's what we're working on today. Where's my corn? It says I can direct sow anytime after May 1st. Today is May 5th, which means I'm okay to start my corn. According to my seed packs, it says I can plant my corn up to 2 weeks before my last frost. Now, my last frost date was April 25th, and honestly, I don't think we've had a frost since before that date, but we're beyond that, and I'm taking it, it takes somewhere around 10 to 14 days for the seeds to germinate, as to why the seed pack says up to 2 weeks before the last frost. So corn, direct sow after May 1st, and that's what we're working on today. Now, this journal also has in here my fertilizing schedule, and then in the very back of the book, it also has a place for garden notes where I can put information in this journal here about things that didn't go well. For example, I've already put in my garden notes that I grew rosemary and it only germinated about 75%, the seeds did. The plant was very small, and then when I put them out in the garden, guess what? The squirrels got them. Lots and lots of squirrel pressure on my rosemary. They dug them up, I replanted them, they dug them up again. So I know now when I plant rosemary, I gotta have a more established plant, or I'm going to get a peanut instead of the rosemary that I was trying to get, because the squirrels leave me peanuts. So that's my garden journal. Corn says May 1st. The actual date that I'm planting the corn is today, so I'm going to put that date in here, 5/5. And we're going to get this corn planted up. Now, I'm going to be planting 3 different types of corn, and I've never planted corn before. This is the first year I'm planting corn, so I'm really excited about it. And I don't want to grow super tall corn because I have I think a very small scale in the grand scheme of things, right? I don't live on a farm. I don't have 30-foot, 40-foot beds or anything like that. And I have a lot of shade as well. So I have to be very intentional on where I plant my different foods, because I don't want one crop to shade out another crop. So I saved 2 beds this year so I can play around with a little corn, but this is no regular corn. These are corn varieties that don't get very tall. Like, for example, this one here, the Orchard Baby. Let me get close so you can see what I'm growing. So for example, the Orchard Baby is a variety of corn that only gets 3 to 5 feet tall, orchard baby. And it's also a 65-day corn. And then I'm also going to grow Art Varel. It's a white sweet corn, and it gets between 3 and 4 feet tall. So, you know, these are short varieties, dwarfed varieties, if you even want to call it that. And so we're going to plant both of those. One's 3 to 4 feet tall, the other's 3 to 5 feet tall. And then I'm going to go with an Old Faithful. Now, I know this one's going to get much taller, so I got to put it in the back. But this says that it is a very common variety for the home gardener. It's a home gardener favorite, it says here. Golden Bantam sweet corn. I was in a store, I walked past seeds, and somehow these just ended up in my cart. So those are the 3 varieties that we're going to grow today. And according to the seed packs, because I always look at my seed packs and I try to follow the directions on my seed packs, according to the seed packs, one of these says grow them 12 inches apart. One says 10 inches apart. And then another one says 9 inches apart. So I've already kind of preset the holes in my bed as to where I'm going to plant these to try to keep these spaced out as best I can. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. They're definitely going to be closer than 12 inches apart. They're going to be more like between 6 and 8 inches apart, which may be too close, but it's really just for fun. If I get some corn, great. If not, it was fun trying. I think you can see me. All right, so we're gonna put that home gardener's favorite in the bed behind me. I think I have 15 spaces in that bed. And in this bed here, I have 24 spaces. Now, the one that says it gets up to 5 feet tall, which is the orchard baby, I'm gonna put that in the back. And then I'm gonna put the Arts Varels in the front. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can put 12 plants of each, looks like, in this bed here. Now, on here it says that I can direct sow. I know some people soak their corn before they plant it. I've seen people do that. This doesn't say anything about doing that. It probably helps with getting it to germinate faster. I'm not going to soak though, so we will see what happens. Now the other thing, you've already heard me talk about my squirrels. I'm expecting to have a lot of squirrel pressure with these seeds. And in addition to the squirrels, I think I'm also going to have bird pressure. If my neighbors didn't feed everything, I mean, like, really? Do you have to feed every animal that comes through the neighborhood? Because of that, I'm expecting to lose some seeds, just to be honest with you. So I thought about getting some kind of chicken wire or something to try to protect the seeds and the soil and everything. And then I changed my mind and I'm like, you know what? If they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. Good for me, bad for them. But we're just going to plant it. We're going to see what happens. It's just for fun. I don't really grow much of anything in this bed anyway. Oh, I didn't tell you the depth. It says I need to plant them 1 to 2 inches. This one says 1 to 2 inches, and this one is a 1/2 inch. So those are very different directions. But we are going to get them all in here. I do have yellow corn and white corn, so we'll see what we get. it'll be very easy to tell what germinates and what doesn't, since one's yellow and one's white. Now in the front of this bed, I have Brussels sprouts and I have peppers growing. And I tell you, the weather just can't decide today. Is it going to rain or is the sun going to shine? We've been going back and forth all day. I was in the rain a few minutes ago. Now the sun's shining very strongly. Oh, I didn't talk about how I prepared this bed. This bed, I prepared the whole bed at one time and cleaned up some of the old debris that was in this bed, got all the weeds out, and then I put a granular fertilizer throughout the whole bed. And then these were all transplants. So for the transplants in the bed, I added my Mykos for the transplants. And since these are seeds, I don't add Mykos. And that's it. That's all we need to do for this bed here. Let me find my gloves. I done laid them somewhere. All right, and these were 1 to 2 inches, all of these seeds. So let me get them all down in the ground to the right depth. We'll get everything watered in here shortly. And this soil is dry. I've been trying to plant this corn, y'all, for days at this point. Every time I try to get out here, something comes up and takes priority. Now I have this bed done. Let me swing back here, plant this other bed, and then I think I'll share with you all of the different seedlings that I've planted today. So I now have all 3 varieties of corn in, and we are going to water those in. And I need to water them in really, really good because this bed was so dry, bone dry, completely dry. And so I need that corn to be absorbing all of that moisture from the soil that it's in. And if the soil's dry, there's nowhere for the corn to grab that moisture if it's not raining. Now, when I finish watering this corn in, I am going to share with you all of the different seeds that I direct sowed today on May 5th and May 4th. I did a few things yesterday, and I want to share with you some of those things that I sowed as well. I didn't have the camera on, so if you're trying to grow with me, you would have missed those. Now, I didn't have to add any potting soil to these beds. All I did was amend the soil that was already in the beds. These beds are full of different potting mixes from over the years. My new favorite potting mix is Fox Farm, but in these beds, there's no Fox Farm. In here, I have Miracle Grow, Moisture Control, or either Pro Mix. But now I am strictly adding Fox Farm to all of my containers when I need to. I think this is good enough for now. We'll come back and hit it again before the end of the day. So let's go look at all the different seeds and plants and vegetables that I direct sowed over the last 2 days. I was lucky enough to remember to turn the camera on when I was doing the corn, but some of the other items I didn't have the camera on, and I want to go and share with you what I grew. I want to share with you what I planted from seed over the last couple of days. I will share with you all the things I direct sowed in my raised beds or pots. And then we'll do a separate video for all the different GreenStalks because that's a video all by itself. So let's look at some of the things that we've direct sowed over the last couple of days. Now, I don't know if you consider sowing potatoes direct sowing or not. Everything's below ground, so we're going to count the potatoes as well. So I actually purchased a few more types of potatoes. I planted some banana fingerling potatoes, and here's a picture of it. And I also planted some lorate, I don't know how you say it, but here's a picture of it. And so these are fingerling potatoes, and I've never grown those before. So I got 3 pots of fingerling potatoes planted. Let's look at what else we planted. Now this bed doesn't look like much, but I have honeydew growing in the back, and there's a picture of my honeydew melons that I just planted. I also have cantaloupes in the back of this bed here. Here's a picture of the cantaloupes. In front of the honeydew, I have yellow summer squash. I have crookneck in here, as well as golden zucchini. And in the back of this bed, I have the noir. Yeah, there's a picture of it. Another type of melon. According to my garden journal, I wasn't planning on getting melons in until about the second week of May. The temperatures look good, so I just went ahead and put those in, along with some other squash and things of that nature. In this bed here, I have more of the green zucchinis here. Multiple kinds of green zucchini, and I'm going to put the pictures up so you can see it. But that's going in this bed here, so it looks like nothing's in there for now, but they'll be popping their heads up in just a few days. I found a little corner over here so I could put some straight neck yellow summer squash as well. So outside of squash and corn, I also planted my pole beans. So I am in my arch trellis area, so that's where we are now. And in this arch trellis area, last year I grew my pole beans right up here, and we're gonna do it again. But I'm gonna have pole beans on both sides this time, so hopefully they will meet in the middle. Here's a picture of those pole beans. That's all of the direct sowing in this garden. So we direct sowed beans, squash, and corn. We are in the beginning of May. We're in zone 6A, and some people say it's too early, but if you look at the zone, it says that my last frost date for my area, so not just the zone, you can't go by just 6A, but if you put on the map, when's your last frost date? So your zone tells you about average temperatures, but your last frost date tells you when will the soil be warm enough to put summer vegetables and that kind of stuff in. And my last frost date now is well over a week ago. And y'all, it's time for me to get this stuff in the ground. Now that I've showed you all the places I did this direct sowing, I'm gonna put a few flowers in while I'm at it. It's getting to be much later in the day, but the garden is so green, it's so healthy. So I figured, why not plant some flowers? Let's put some color in the garden. And so I have some marigolds that I started indoors from seed, and I figured I'll just plant a few of these out before the sun goes away on me today. Now, I said this video was about planting corn and showing you all of the direct sowed seeds, but my garden needs some color. Everything's coming in, so we gotta add some color too. Gotta have that color popping. At this point, you've seen me plant a lot of different things, so I won't bore you with me planting my flowers, because at the end of the day, I like to talk about vegetables. But these flowers are not so much for the beauty. They need to do their job. They got to do some work. So we will get these marigolds planted so they can start working. I got to put them on the clock. They can start earning their pay. And I'm going to get to that while I let you go. Thank you for stopping by at Kim's Cozy Corner. And if you enjoyed this video, there's many more out there. I like to show everything that I'm doing. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel and come back again real soon and hang out with me at Kim's Cozy Corner. Talk to you soon. Bye.